The men's register?
You're real close. Just keep on going straight. No, this way, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, Scott. How doing?
Not too bad. Yourselves? Good.
Come in here.
Huh? Still got microphones, right? I'm over from across the hall.
Everybody's early. Yeah.
No.
When are the crews start dust control? When do they start residential dust control? Do you have any idea? Surprise me.
We're actually talking about starting tomorrow, but the frac tank down here, we're using out of it when we're doing the main roads, and they're gonna get it filled back up today and tomorrow, so we don't have any material right now. I'm sorry, tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow will be 2 loads of bring in, and Wednesday will be 2 loads, so if they get it in early enough tomorrow morning, should be able to start tomorrow.
Okay.
We're going to go out to the lake first, do the lake,
No.
just to get all the bugs.
More done?
We got a lot of new people.
Morning.
Yep.
Good sitting here, guess I thought I was late.
Huh?
Thought I was late.
Everybody's early.
You're good.
Good morning.
Hi, Christie. Hi, Tara.
You're a patriotic day.
Until,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes. It's taken care of.
Okay, good, thank you. I called him back, but he didn't say he talked to you. He should have done it different times, so it never happened.
Yeah, I talked to Scott.
Okay.
Got it. The guy, and I actually talked to the land company also. Supposed to get the drivers that can't just buy the land through it.
Right.
And so just go through it and said, nobody wants to drive a football field. But Scott took care of it.
Okay, cool.
That's one of those.
Okay,
Afterwards,
I knew you called Keith, I didn't want you to think I didn't call back.
Oh, no, he's, I talked to him through the whole process.
Wednesday about 11 o'clock at night,
He was
when I'm in bed sleeping, I
He
hear
did, I guess his message, and so the next morning.
So I get up and go out and look, she's not
Right,
living.
when I called him, he said, I was
Her in a
about to
chair.
finish talking. Keith, I'm like, okay.
I hear one more Scott.
Yeah.
She went up and down the bathroom and she was hot, so she went outside to cool down. Well, the chair's a swivel chair, and she had a walker. She went to sit down, the chair swiveled. She hits the ground and got a big old bruise and cut on the arm. Scraped up her face, and we had to go in for surgery the next one.
she's lucky you were.
Yeah. And then I had to get EMS to come out and help me get it picked up.
We
Get it back up. Well, I told her, it's either EMS or the skid steer, which you want.
Yeah, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
We can talk about that after how we really do it.
Yeah. I did read about you running. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I would guess that tank, see.
Scholarship.
Oh, thank you.
seems like this guy really had a little synopsis about land storage and
That's on that.
scholarship
West
that we were
Okay.
in. I think you wrote it for Dan or somebody wrote it for Dan.
My body's back, but my mind's still catching up.
Yeah, trust me, I know. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that we had that. So if we do, it's already down the road.
Checked out maybe a 100-foot circle out in the work plan, and so he can turn around fairly easy.
Okay. Like I say, Cole thinks the grader's gone around his driveway.
Like coming down here.
Huh? You know where you come down in and come around? He says the grader's came down in there and turned around.
That would be a good thing because
Gone
it's
around.
ourselves.
What's
Liability.
that?
I see a liability and pull ourselves.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's why I think if we could do it like this, and get him to sit in the building, this whole piece of planning, that'd be the way to go.
Yeah, it's better than that.
Yeah. The alternative.
Right. The air conditioner makes it.
Yes.
What was wrong with it?
There was a little wire about that long that didn't have any insulation on it.
Is this the new panic button over here? You can do?
Watch how it was.
No, exactly. Very well.
You can do the steps to get a right of way or change. That is,
Yeah, well, it's condemnation, basically. You just gotta take it.
but it's, the red line there is for the right of way, it's now here, coming in the shore.
Really?
Mhm.
Well, it's gotta be replanted.
Yeah, that's what I want to do up to here for the turn. That way we can do the other street. There's 2 kilometers spent here in the right of way. So if I can do this here, and get this right of way changed like this, then we can eliminate big meters. Take these trees.
You gotta, probably gonna do condemnation in this area. right
Yes.
here. So it's not, in the right now. Get moving, complete in this area. So, it is
So I, say, condemnation,
condemnation.
what is that?
Well, there's a couple ways to do it. It's just a valuation of property that's there. Get it for a process of your
Treasury.
Okay, so this is kind of like we did with the purchase right away from the bridges.
Yeah,
I think
it's
those are-
only bridge wide.
Send them to Dan too.
Okay,
That's because he's still on his thing of contact.
thank you.
Those are the trash.
No, we posted our last month. So
Well,
hopefully
good thing.
All right.
So going down to get the baby this
Yes,
weekend.
I remember. Yeah. I love this area, it's,
Computer
My
problems.
computer's old. I think it's gonna have to be replaced too.
Oh. Shut down.
Yeah, it's shut down, restarted, and now it just knocked me on, it's restarting.
Do you have phone numbers from some of these folks out there?
Nobody get it.
I like the one out to the west of the
Onward.
okay, and then the lady and gentleman up at the bottom of the hill where we talked about the driveway.
Okay.
Like the third number two.
Okay. I can do that.
I've got 9 o'clock, we'll go ahead and open the meeting with a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first thing we've got on the agenda today, non-defined road and bridge, so we just kind of want to kind of talk about some things that have been going on and kind of get lines of communication straightened out. So, Scott, you want to take off?
Jim,
Yes,
you chime in here, you're
Yes.
reading the information.
yes. So my question is, when they get these pumps in, how are we going to monitor the fuel usage? Because I have to send out quarterly and annual fuel reports. And right now, I have no way of monitoring some of those things. Now, I get how much fuel is put in each individual road grader. I get that bill, but I don't know how much they're using. We've got a reader through PEI, is that what it is? That they put the pump readers on there and we get a report every day. And so I get information off of that. And then they have, you know, your log sheets that you use when you sign out fuel, when you get fuel down there. So I can match those up with that, but we're having a problem with the readers. So I do send those to Brett daily, so he can kind of monitor that. And we thought it was just the unleaded fuel, but now we're having problems with the diesel tanks off and on. It said it had, what, 60% in it, and it really only had like 3%?
Yeah, it's working now.
Yeah, I noticed that they were working now, but they fluctuate. It seems like they're just not, and we looked at replacing it again, but we wanted to wait until we found out what we were doing here, because if Brett could do that, we would rather have him do that.
And just basically get another company out of the picture
Right.
for the monitoring thing.
Well, you guys want to chime in?
So you want to replace all the monitors on those 3 tanks?
I think that'd be the way to go,
Yeah.
instead of having them do anything with it.
Okay, so what, when this is a 5-year deal, so you're just gonna change them every 5 years then, if somebody else comes in?
Yeah.
Well, right now, we're not real confident with it working. Correct. So-
Right.
Well, it's an
Yeah.
electronic piece of equipment, so
Right.
it's just like anything else. You're never,
Right.
they're never 100%, you don't know when they're gonna go bad.
Right.
If I put them in, you know, they're, the type of monitors you have on there, about $600, $700 a piece.
Which is about what they, I think it was like $600 that they quoted us to replace the one.
And you're gonna have to change all of your software and stuff now that you have these things to the software.
Well, we don't monitor that software, they do, and they just email me that report every morning. Their company just spits that report out to me on those 3 tanks.
So are you saying go down?
Yeah.
And so then all of them would have to go down,
Yes.
if they're willing to do that?
And then also the tanks that are going out at the shop, how are those going to function? Because I'm going to have to monitor those the same way that we monitor these down here
That was
at the
No.
yard.
all,
What about data?
We can do that, yeah, but I mean, that was never part of the agreement.
Right, and I
We-
think that's where we've all kind of been confused at, is to the fact that, because we do have to send reports out, and different reports. I mean, we have to,
Are you, so, let's all be on the same page, we're planning on keeping all of the tanks at the east yard
Yes,
in operation?
yes,
yeah,
Okay, and in addition to this 10,000 that's coming out here?
yes.
Okay,
Basically, you have the
So-
truck fuel out here and the road fuel down here for the equipment. So right now, we don't fuel, we have,
For the equipment,
yes.
you're not gonna put back fuel in the equipment?
Well, the clear is what we'd have out there for the trucks.
Right.
And down here, we'd switch over to this little less expensive, isn't it?
What's that?
that
So
is.
it's a little less, equipment, yeah.
Yeah,
So that, right now, we don't do that because they pump for trucks, they pump for equipment out of the same tanks.
why don't you do one of each? Since you have trucks down there.
We'd rather have, well, there's plans on that too. We eventually want to get the trucks out here, truck fuel out here, and then equipment fuel down here.
It's typically, how many trucks do you have down here? Very, I mean, one or two dump trucks?
We talked about changing that, remember? To get things out here,
Huh?
to get things moved out here.
Right, right.
Or better.
Right, but that's what I'm
Right.
saying, on a daily basis, I mean,
Well, right now, all the trucks run fuel,
mhm.
daily basis.
okay.
Your semis, your dump trucks, all of them run through there.
And that's where we put the 10,000 gallon
No,
tank.
no,
out
what
here.
I'm saying on a
Right.
daily
Move all the
basis,
truck traffic out there.
right, on a daily basis, how many trucks are left there overnight? So they're getting in them and driving them to,
So probably 5, 6.
and that's just for the bridge crew?
Well,
the,
John, and
Frank.
Shannon,
And Shannon.
well, Frank's bridge crew, so
Oh.
that part's bridge crew. So Frank, Shannon and John both park their trucks down there. And then you got the other, barrel beds that are also.
Right.
And then 2 motor graders on
okay,
Yes, that'd be.
the roadside.
Well, I think what the problem here is we're just not communicating on reports. Is that what I'm getting?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that you guys could get together and
yeah, what's
figure
the
out what we
solution
need
to
to do to
that?
get that,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, so
No.
that I can monitor those, like I said, I have to send reports in. And then we get the fuel tax reimbursement also, but we also have to send in reports for the FSA routes and
Sure.
the engineering report. And like, there's so many reports that goes into, which we're way behind on because the 2024 data. That was lost.
yeah, it was lost, yeah.
So,
If I
So-
could just ask a question.
sure.
Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah,
about
yeah.
your reports, maybe I can help. So are you using your tickets will be more representative of the fuel used, right? Is that what you're using to process your reporting?
So
Or are you-
right now, I'm not processing, reporting on, well, I am reporting on the fuel that are at the grader sites. And, I just don't know, like, how much they're using on a daily basis. They're not giving us that information, so they can do that themselves. But
But
of
they've
course,
never done that in the past.
no,
So
So how did they do the reporting?
I just go by
you should
the usage by
deliver
the tickets that you guys send us, yeah.
Which would be great, so then your concern is are you really more concerned about the big tanks?
The bigger tanks, yes.
Okay, so the new 10,000 is gonna have the technical system, and somebody should have already been contacting you guys. In the beginning, they had Tara, they've been sending emails to the road and bridge office at,
Uh-uh.
no? Okay.
That's me, yeah, that's me now. It was Tara, but, no, I haven't gotten anything on how that's going to work.
Okay,
And that's been another big question. What are we gonna do with those? Because those are ones that I also have to do like we do the ones down here.
That was good, if I remember right, that was gonna be a keypad pin, everybody had their own pin?
yeah,
Is that, so you can track it that way, right? I mean, that's what I thought that was gonna be.
right.
There's no way to tie that with that.
No,
No,
and we knew that. I just,
Okay.
to make sure that I was going to be getting the fuel reporting.
So, the solution then, we're gonna do 2 dye down there and then unleaded still, correct, is what you're saying,
You do.
eventually?
Yes.
Okay, so can we do, if you guys wanna purchase those monitors he's talking about, replace your monitors, we could put you on the auto data system, which is what all the road grader tanks and the
Right,
quick strip is
that you
all
guys
on.
are monitoring,
Yes.
so we don't have to call you at the last minute, cause,
Right,
oh gosh, my tank's empty.
right.
Well,
Well,
that
I mean, it's
wasn't
still
one of
gonna
the
be-
fault, that wasn't right.
No,
Yeah.
like on
Yeah,
But,
the
So-
rotor, the grader
And that's the
tanks.
thing, that we've had the issues with the monitor on the fuel, or the gas, and we've had them on the diesel now, and that's why I said, you know, I'd rather deal with one
vendor.
company and vendor instead of
Mhm.
having to go through.
That
legal
works well with
them.
you.
when they put those in, they took all your mechanical gauges out of the tanks, which is,
Yeah, that's pricing, pricing as well.
I don't know why that's the case, because you're supposed to have visual monitoring on every tank for transporter people that don't have it.
They would put that electronic gauge in,
Right,
the
but,
PEI outfit did, yes.
yes, they did, but they didn't put another mechanical type gauge in. I mean, it's a float system,
Right,
so
so that they could actually see that
so
that,
people can see besides being in an office to see what's in that tank.
right,
They're supposed to have visual, if you don't have something on that tank that shows how much is in it,
uh-huh.
the PEI system will have, they have a digital display that mounts. I mean, it hooks to the system so people that are putting fuel in that tank can also see how much is in that tank, or when they get there, they know the level. Everything, I don't know how they got away with it or why they didn't do it that way, but,
Okay,
So how do we resolve that?
there's no way, I mean, there's not enough holes in that tank. That's why they did it that way, but legally, you're supposed to have a visual sight gauge of some sort on that tank,
And that,
but there's
that,
not.
that would help.
Those tanks, well, the one tank, the newer tank has enough holes. It should, because that one's only like 8 years old,
and I
but the
believe,
old one doesn't. So you have to, have somebody, you have to empty the tank, clean it out, cut a hole in it.
And I would just soon close that tank down before I could do that,
Yeah,
and just use the one tank.
that's fine. That's right, that was my other question, why do you need 18,000 gallons?
I mean, they're all in line trying to get fuel at the same time.
But
So
that-
we're also trying to resolve that too, where some people get it at the end of the day and other people get it first thing in the morning. So it's not, so they're not all trying to get it at one time. So we are,
But once
Sure.
that tank's going out there, you shouldn't have.
Right.
right, we shouldn't have that issue. It should flow a lot better.
Yeah, I think once we get the tank out there, that you're gonna see a lot of improvement in what's happening. But like I said, I think right now, it's just kind of the line of communications, we need to meet, call and talk to them, or run out and talk to them, and we'll get this all straightened out as far as that. I mean, things are gonna be kind of in flux right now while
Sure.
we're changing over, so.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
So that's why I kind of wanted to get ahead of that prior to,
well, your Technomet system, I'm sorry nobody has contacted you, I was under the impression that they had even before before the switchover, so it's been
Okay.
a while.
yeah,
Like probably back in the fall, so I'll follow up with that, and they may just be waiting, I mean, we have sites, we have somebody contacting us weekly, checking on the project to see,
Uh-huh.
because we've been storing this
Right.
large tank that's been ready for several months now,
Mhm.
so are we getting closer?
The concrete was poured, I think we got another week, for it to cure, and then it'll be ready, so.
Awesome, okay, I will pass that along. And then, your reporting, I think, it'll make it a lot more
That
sense,
would
it'll
be-
make it should be pretty simple, you'll get the report, you're gonna get more than you probably really need.
Okay.
I feel like,
but yeah,
and we're planning on not being in that equation at all. They are to make direct communication with you, that way you can just talk directly with them, ask them what you're needing, they
Okay.
can help you get what you need, set up all your pins, make it super easy, there's no sense in a third party getting involved.
Right,
So it'll just
correct.
be direct communication, so I'll follow up and make sure, and maybe they're just waiting until they can actually get the system and get training and all of
okay.
that.
And is it the same one that's monitoring the greater tanks
So
now?
this isn't a monitoring system.
Okay,
it's gonna monitor what's
Their
pumped,
gallons.
yeah.
Okay, that's what, yeah.
Right,
I was
but
just
as
trying
for
to,
the level of the
Right,
tank,
yeah.
we will use just like we are on the Greer tanks,
Right.
the data. And we will have access to that just because of the delivery.
right, so that was my question. So, I mean, I knew that there was something with there now that you get to monitor those tanks without the guys calling in and saying, hey, I need fuel. Again, at the last minute. And you guys are swamped. You know?
No,
And-
you haven't had any issues, I mean.
Not
those
since,
work
nope,
fine.
not since you put those
It's
in.
just the ones you have
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
which they're all working right now, but,
Yeah, yes, they are, because I pulled it and showed them this morning. I'm like, they're all working right now.
but it's just, I mean, it's electronic, just like she's having problems with her computer that you never know.
Right,
That's why it's nice to have visual.
right, and I agree with that as
also
well.
with Your electronics.
Because,
Well,
I mean,
You gotta have.
Jay and Matt
They
did check
charge
those
us
every
around
day.
them out here to that fuel tank, it was like $300.
oh yeah, it was terrible. It's almost $400 just to come look at it and
They
tell us
just-
they need it replaced.
Right. You know, so I wanna get away from
Yeah.
that third party.
Do you wanna wait until we get that? Should we revisit this after, we can still be in communication, but
Sure.
it doesn't sound like we can really,
Yeah,
let's see
let's-
what our issues really are after the 10,000, after the.
Yeah.
Right,
Let's
yes,
do that.
yes. And just so that we're kind of all flowing in on
I
the
mean,
same
we can
page.
get those monitors if you decide to go that way pretty quick.
Which tank are you gonna wanna use down there? The new one?
Well, yes, but we may end up changing the pump because the one on number one pumps faster than the one on number two. So we
Right,
like,
well, if you still want double pumping, you can shut
Key
off
off.
that and key off and
Key
get rid
off.
of both pumps. Cause that, there's a 2-inch pipe coming out of that, so you're plenty to feed 2 pumps.
that
So
that
that
would
would
be the way to
You better
go.
go if you wanna
Just
just get
close
rid
that
of
one down.
shut one down.
Okay.
I don't know if those old gauges are still laying down there or not, but
They was shocked when they took them out. That's why they took them out and went to this electronic system.
Okay.
yeah.
So
and then-
yeah, you'll have to get gauges as well.
Well, I can't do that.
Oh.
Those are, we'll just have to see if there's another hole.
Okay,
But that new tank should have extra holes in it. The old ones, they put one hole in the top, and that's all they have. But the new one should have at least 2 to 3 2-inch holes in the top. But you can, those mechanical gauges are, well, they're a big loop of, basically a tape measure of the flow.
Right.
And I don't mess with that.
Okay.
That's the whole
no,
difference.
understandable, yeah, absolutely.
Is there any way to mount an ultrasonic on the top?
That's basically what these are.
What you're using now?
Yeah, the ones that are going in that tank are,
Yeah.
it's a probe that sits down in the bottom of the tank.
Okay.
But you still have to have, I don't know if ODO offers that, a visual, like through Bluetooth probably.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. That has a digital readout on it that shows somebody that's standing there,
Right.
what's in that tank, or how many gallons, 'cause
Okay.
I mean, we need to make sure that we are in compliance.
Sure.
I mean, it's just for like,
Right.
you know, I'm on the fire department, if we rolled it, you would have a containment fire, or containment leak. Whoever pulls up there has no idea how much product's in that tank without trying to get a hold of you if it happened on the weekend.
Right,
There's no way to know.
Yeah.
right. I mean, yeah, you could get a hold of us, we'd have to go in and pull it off the computer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just one of those things that I don't know how they got away with doing that, but
I believe it's been written up in your SWPP plan though, from NTCS, so you might look at that. Rick Smith, he
Yeah,
wrote the
I've got all
original,
this stuff up there.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so you might look at it, he had told us in the past that there were some things that needed to be done.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I wanna make sure that we're in compliance. We're doing all this to make it easier. Don't wanna get a big fine
Right,
or a terrible accident.
exactly, yep.
Okay, all right, that helps me out a lot, and you'll have them get in touch with me.
Yeah, the supplement.
Perfect. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. And then you have this information from this Rick
And
Smith.
don't hesitate
Yeah, it's out
to
there.
call us. I
Right.
know
Okay,
with these types of questions, we can definitely
okay.
work
Yep,
through
sure.
that, make
Bryson, did you have any questions other than, because
No.
Bryson and I have been trying to figure out how we're gonna, because they, sometimes they'll have to haul fuel out to somewhere, which is fine, whatever. But that's gonna resolve all of these issues and we get that, everything set the way it needs to be set, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna take time, but yeah, it's gonna get worked out in the end.
Right.
Are the other 3 tanks, the 520s, are those going, are you gonna do anything with those?
Which tanks are these?
The other 520s that you have out the lot?
3 of them sitting out there.
Yeah,
As of this time, no. But if we move the blade someplace, yeah, we very well could.
At the time when we started all this, some of the blades were at people's houses.
Right.
Now they're not. They're sitting down in the yards.
right.
So, I mean,
If we don't get.
I've got, there's $6,500, $7,000 worth of tanks that are not being used for nothing. And those pumps, if they just sit, they're gonna go bad.
Okay, with that. Gotcha.
So I mean, you're not gonna use them for now, then we'll come get them, and I'll put them in places I can put it in use and make money off of them. And if you need something, then we just have to get it,
Get it?
because there's no sense in $7,000 worth of stuff.
Right.
sitting.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
Right now, I don't see us.
Not unless we
Even
do
right now.
one of them 2 blades out of the yard or
Yeah.
one out there at shop goes through the country someplace, then we'd have to do something different.
So then you can just let us know and give us a little bit of leeway.
Right, sure,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
think we'll let you know now. Right, go ahead and get it.
And it seems like everything's going well with the ones out down at White Strip, so other than, they bring me a sign-out sheet weekly on what fuel they used and what equipment it went into, so they're doing really well with that, so we're okay there.
Does the system, when you put in your PIN number, does it have the ability that you can put in truck number or grader number also, so that it?
Just
I
don't,
think one or the other.
yeah, the one out here will,
It will.
the 10,000 gallon tank. The ones that, like the road graders are just a monitor, they have no way, all
Yeah,
their
no
truck
need
needs
for
is
that,
going
shouldn't be a need for that.
Right.
in the tank.
But out here, if they're just, would that be of help so that, I mean,
Mhm.
if I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, truck number 3, 4, 5, 6,
Mhm.
then you know that 80
Yeah.
gallon went into that, that would be helpful.
Right,
That's
right.
good.
That'll be, you'll be able
That'll
to
be
set that
so
one
much
up.
easier than
Like
having to
truck
try to
number,
read their
driver,
handwriting.
Yes.
The PIN number's gonna identify with whoever is in that truck, and then you put a truck number in it.
Right.
to
The stuff you're gonna build with them.
Okay.
You'll build like your own little database and you'll assign it how you want to, but
Perfect.
there's some, won't be all of the above. You'll have to choose like truck or grader, ID your employee maybe.
Right.
Employee ID versus truck or
Okay.
choose just truck.
And then do they have them put their beginning mileage? their mileage
Yeah,
into it?
odometers and.
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That'll help too.
All right.
All right. Thank
Well,
you guys
good.
so much.
You betcha. Brett, Carly, thank you for coming in and answering questions, appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
See ya.
Thank you guys.
Let me know before we go.
Got it 90 days in that. Any fastest way we train the classroom kids.
Okay.
Good.
And he's also passed the ATV training class, so we got our helmets.
Don't even get me started.
Last week we ordered in some haydite for the packing We got some material that's contaminated, we've got that all worked out. The stones that were in it in the future are about 1/4 to 3/8, so they're like 3/4, so we didn't want to put that on our road, so we should be getting some credit back on that one load. We wrote the load back up to semi and sent it back, and it's almost another load, so we should get that all worked out. Dust control for the miles, road got done last Friday, so we're pleased with that. We're gonna start on, the residents possibly tomorrow, more likely it'll be Wednesday. We're gonna start out at the lake first, just get all the bugs worked out of the system, make sure everything's working right. Matt and I went and met with, Lisa Walmigo and Billy Price last week. We met for lunch and talked about the bridges and the roads, what, is ours and what isn't. We've got kind of a plan. We're gonna meet every 2 weeks for a while and just pick out a section, go through the road, and we're gonna get together, and agree to this is ours, or we maintain it, and they maintain the other portion.
Yeah, which one is not which is ours and which is theirs, but who maintains what, because they're all ours.
Right.
Right, okay.
So,
Did that last communication from the state, did they accept that one that showed that BIA had accepted that one bridge?
on down here 190?
Yes.
No.
They had,
No.
the one on G Road, that's BIA, or that
One on-
IRR program.
Yeah, that one I haven't even been involved with. They haven't even spoken with me about it.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
mean, that's, the one on 190 wasn't on that
Right.
list.
Right.
So, we're back to square one.
Oh, I thought that the one we were speaking about earlier was that you had sent the email out on, that said that it was 190th that was done, but we hadn't talked about G Road yet. I thought that's what I heard. I read it wrong.
You got from who? Me?
Yes, that last email from you.
No, I think it must, if I did, it wasn't being clear.
And like you said, I might have read that wrong.
The G Road one is definitely on that list, at least, that code speak. Numbers, jumbled numbers make sense to somebody, didn't me, but that's.
Yeah, because it says that, see below and attached, looking for specifics on the G Road bridge still, but this is a start. And I
Okay, well-
thought-
He got me, maybe I didn't forward that on, he got me one that was correctly highlighted.
Okay, no, I take that back. Near G Road and 206, PIA, west of the intersection of J and 190th is not listed. Okay.
This is the highlighted one.
Is that a list of?
Yeah, I think, I hadn't got back with them yet on this, but it seems to me that, I got the locations, and again, I don't know how to read this. But it looks like if we're county designation 85, then this would kind of be their list of what they have on the IRR program.
Take a copy of that?
Yeah, I read that wrong, so
Okay.
I apologize.
So I don't know what the answer probably is to go back to the state and say, well, we know it's not on the IRR program, but we don't have any record to show that we did the road back in the 90s.
Well, see, with the information I had on the 190 road and I-7 is what they call it, and I checked longitude, latitude with Donna Schmidt, which is the state, and she identified that is the bridge, and that we had back there in 2004, I believe it was, to pass it on, but they never confirmed that they accepted it, so that's what we're waiting, is get information in front of them again for them to officially say, yes, we're accepting this. And that's
Who's there? Who's they?
well, I've been talking with Lisa Walmigo.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. Well, I'm still trying to figure out, if it isn't in the IRR program, it's still in the listing. designated, but we still have, I mean, they're gonna be on the state inventory if they're not.
This one's been taken off state inventory, already confirmed that.
Oh, really? So
From
what's-
that was from the original letter that you showed us and sent to the state. It said that,
Yes,
that bridge had been,
yes.
yeah,
I did go back and talk to the, Brady, the VG consultant, and he pulled up the deal, and he says, well, it's not on the state's, inventory list.
But who, why is that? Is that because it was done by the tribe back in the ever?
I believe we had it, from what the records I found, we had it up until 2004, because we were doing the inspections before that. And then after that, when that letter was put out, that, you know, after here, that the tribe was going to be responsible for it. And then again, apparently nothing ever happened on the other side to say, yes, we would do this or accept it. So I think it's still back on us, but the state did go ahead and pull it off of their inventory list at that time.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of who did the work on it so that we could, if it had to be kind of recreated, if we even had the information to do that.
And I went, Cook Flat and Stroll was the engineers group that was doing the inspections, and I think the new bridge design, and went back and checked, and they said after so many years that they don't keep a lot of those records.
Yeah. So it's been at least 20 years.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you get to kind of somewhat sort that out, I suppose, but if they're not digging us for being on the list, and I think at least got that out of that, frankly.
Yeah, and like I said, I've talked to Dawn and told her that we're, you know, working on a plan to try to get it worked out.
Well, I think just generally in your discussions, remember we're talking about the roads and bridges and stuff. This is just about maintenance agreements and resolutions that the county has done to agree to cover some roads and let tribe do others. It's not ownership.
Ownership, right.
So, and that's a different story entirely. And we know that, you know, that's obviously something they have a program for. But it's necessarily belongs to any one person.
We got a call, they're heading up there right now to get that truck and re-equipment, got the new bed put on it. And, so we sent a trailer up to bring the old bed back, we'll put that on, to sell. Probably gonna wait until we get the new Dodge truck in and sell that truck down here at the same time. And we've got a few things to put together to this fine. Got a call from Wardcraft, or a company that moves houses and trailers and things like that. And we've got somebody wanting to move a house in, I'm not sure where, but it's probably a little bit Friday. And Wardcraft is telling the guy that Jackson County says that they cannot move anything over 28 feet through the county.
That's when they're stopped, too.
I don't know, but we haven't found that out.
there's been bigger things moved than
Oh,
28 feet
just a
down
few-
through the
yeah,
county.
just a few weeks ago. We had, you know,
28 feet in width?
Yes,
There's been bigger things moved than 28 feet in width.
I know.
Well, there's
I would-
usually, I mean, there's different resolutions for moving houses than there is like wide loads, right? Because I never really dealt much with county regs about wide loads, you know, oversized. Because the houses are sometimes in one piece and that's height more than anything. But, yeah, I'd be surprised if there's something in there that says 28 feet.
Because I mean, they moved the parsonage for the Christian church from where the Christian church is out to Cemetery Road and then west, or south.
As I said,
I don't,
I didn't know if anybody else heard about it, like I said, still digging into it, but, Wardcraft's supposed to be calling me today,
Huh.
and I'm gonna try to find out where he's getting his information from.
yeah.
And then, again, maybe Jackson County, Missouri.
Yeah. That's just what I was gonna say, yeah,
That's happened. So,
because I don't recall ever hearing anything like that.
Do you know where they're gonna put the home?
no, I do not.
You'll need you don't have any kind of haul route?
We do have haul route.
You do,
yes.
you know what the haul route for this particular project?
Not yet, because they, like I said, it's just a phone call to Mary last week. Mary passed it on to me, and I've been trying to touch base with folks, and haven't got a hold of
Well, you know, there's been Warcraft homes built
Oh, I
in
know.
Jackson County.
Yeah, they come down, you know, 254.
We had this happen when Kathy was here, and we did have to issue a permit for them to bring this home in.
So, maybe it was Kate's office that answered that
It came
question?
through the clerk's office, Kathy did.
Oh, Christie?
We have the permits upstairs. So after you find out that it's okay, it's a $25 fee,
Okay.
and then we'll issue the permit once we get something.
Will you still do that, road bridge, didn't do that?
I mean, they can have it if they like.
No, I actually thought they got sent out to road bridge at one
It would make,
point
to
to
me,
do.
it would make more sense if they
Yeah, I
handled
thought-
that, not you guys.
I'm great with that.
If you would be.
I mean, I did,
Yeah, very.
I really thought,
All in
that's-
favor, say aye.
I thought it got transferred out there once upon a
They
time.
did it when
Because of that reason.
Twyla and Nancy were out there, and then something happened, and they got that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, to me, it would just make sense that if Jennifer had it.
Because they had to check the route anyway.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the permit's not hard to fill out, you just go on the size, sign off on it, I think.
Collect the money.
I think you guys have some. It's been a while since we've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then, you know, Rob Wilson moved that house here just, a few weeks ago. I know that was going for a week.
Did he have a permit?
I didn't know their permit
Did
existed.
you issue a permit?
Can't do anything about
What's
it.
that? I didn't know there was
Because
a permit
really, the person
involved.
that moves it's supposed to get the permit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would, I guess to me, it would just stand to reason that you have to be permitted so that they can identify where the obstacles are.
Exactly, and what roads you can take and what bridges you can take.
So they probably just came to you and just asked about the route and stuff?
They
Rob
had the route
Wilson.
already set. We didn't say nothing about route.
No, I meant Rob Wilson.
Yeah, Rob Wilson. They said we're moving from here, I think it's down K Road, and then down 254, and up here to 75, and
Yeah.
over here. Like I said, they had the route already good.
Need to send them one of their forms and tell them it was.
$25. Because usually the person who's moving it gets that permit
Right.
first.
Some things we still haven't completed or got finished is the minimum maintenance roads that we verified and turned in, where we have.
So we're on Tara on that, she's working on it.
I haven't,
Are you
Yeah.
still waiting on some roads from Scott for minimum maintenance?
Yes.
On what?
I don't remember. I mean, I talked to.
Well, the one we talked about is what was on the reservation. That's what I remember.
No, we didn't talk about it anymore.
I know, because we're going to do it on the reservation.
No. I have it upstairs.
Okay.
Not
I'll
anymore.
come see it. I'll come see you. There's a couple deals, I think Mary's redone the handbook, we're going through it again for updates, so get some things resolved there, hopefully. The concrete is done out there for the fuel tank, it's just curing right now, hopefully by next week we'll be able to set something on it. Plan on doing our safety meeting on the 28th, since the 27th is the day after Memorial. So, you want to come out the week before?
Yeah, so the 22nd, 23rd,
Second? You tell me.
22nd.
You know, okay.
And so you meet with them to, for what reason?
Just meet with the management team and we just go over what they're doing, anything they want relayed back to this board from the whole crew. That's where I came up with, you know, the information that they had sent 3 emails to Brett and Carly and had not gotten any response, and then, you know, it's just information like
That's
that.
fine, I was just curious.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is just an opportunity for them to have, kind of an open forum
Okay.
where they can express frustrations or, hey, this is going really good and we like this or we don't like this, and then I
Okay.
typically bring it back and report to you guys. But you're welcome, if you ever wanna experience that, I would highly encourage you, if you wanna go meet with them.
No, no, I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be me, I just
Still
don't.
learning.
Yeah,
And he says frustrations, he was frustrated more than us this last week.
Okay.
so they were good sounding board for me.
Okay. Okay.
22nd's fine, I got a doctor's appointment at 11:30, so we should be done before then.
Yeah,
All right,
8:30?
8:30.
Yeah. May 22.
The last thing I had was the 206 road down here. Ethan put in Highway Main Road,
Yeah,
so I sent you a picture,
yep.
so you can call about it.
And I reached out to the landowner and said, it's your responsibility. And she said, they can drive through the corn. I said, that's not the point. Nobody wants to drive through 7-foot tall corn. And I said, you just need to stay out of it, and you need to let them know that.
Is that the one going back to the creek down there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it's been bladed up and go from
Yeah,
there.
the trees haven't been removed from the
Sure.
first part, but the field has been addressed.
Okay.
Did you check out 214th Road? The road comment that I called you about? 214 and 10?
Brandon put down,
Okay,
and took care of the deep pothole.
okay. Oh, the pothole,
Deep
okay.
pothole.
Okay, thank you.
I guess run through here what Matt had, tubes they did last week, 126 in U3, 278 in J1, R4 and 166. Jay and Dave cut lips off of the O Road, 230 to 238, 74, 300 to 306. And they put rock on 286 Q4W and the rest is best control cells.
I got nothing.
The dust control up, was it on, up north in where we?
I got the dust control spots, they said 214 and I
Well,
think
they-
they were prepping.
Huh?
I think they were prepping for dust control.
Okay. But when they prep that, they pour it back in, water it. I explained to Luke that he wanted to know why you would blade the road and then spray it with dust control. He was under the impression it should be a hard surface, and I said, if you do that, Luke, it all runs into the ditch. And so, after about 30 minutes of explanation, he now understands why we do that, fluff it up and
Yeah.
wet it.
There are about 4 spots up there on 254 that the dust control, they're kind of rippling.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back out and scarify those areas, not the whole thing.
Right.
And probably re-wet it just to activate the chemicals.
I was just up there last night, there is one spot there that I don't know if the sprayers missed on the eastbound side. You can see it, it's,
Pretty clean.
yeah, it's pretty clean,
Okay.
so,
On 254.
yeah.
Can you pencil in time for me next week too, like a weird one? Tell me what
Okay.
days next week.
I'm gone Monday, Tuesday. So it'd have to be,
I think I'm here next week. Tuesday or something.
That it?
I'm good.
Cool. Y'all have a good day.
That, I would, you would call me back about that, road down there, U Road, that pulling, you know, how
Yeah.
you looked at that. Is that supposed to be something that's gonna be done? That he's gonna go over there and work on that?
Well, I haven't talked to him.
Okay.
Yep. We're gonna pull that rock in.
Yeah.
That grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to him about it, because I was asked what road that was, and.
Oh, it was
So
you,
issues.
you between 134 and 120, 126, 118, 2 miles on U Road. Yeah,
118, 126.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
perfect,
Thanks, Scott.
thanks.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.
15 on this bill.
Let's go ahead and do that now.
Okay.
You're looking for an executive session?
Yes.
For what?
Contract negotiation?
Attorney-client privilege? Okay. Okay.
So I'm moving to go into executive session of, attorney-client privilege, contract negotiation, for 15 minutes, beginning at 9:47. To include commissioners, our attorney, and our clerk.
Second.
Okay, it's probably moved and seconded to go into executive session for attorney-client privilege, contract negotiations, for 15 minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried.
When was that supposed to start, Ryan?
47.
If you read it.
letter here from the Soldier Ball Association. Dear Jackson County Commissioners, thank the players, coaches, families, and community of the Soldier Ball Association. Would like to say thank you for the generous $2,500 check you sent us. We are already using the funds to better the facilities for this year. We greatly appreciate your help. Sincerely, Ross, appreciate you and the Ball Association officers. We have a letter of thanks from the Jackson Heights Post Prom 2025, and it looks like everybody who attended signed it, so that's a nice thank you from them. We have here from the American Legion Auxiliary Poppy Day proclamation. Whereas America is a land of freedom, preserved and protected willingly and freely by citizen soldiers. Whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died on the field of battle. Whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war. Whereas the red poppy has been designated as a symbol of sacrifice of all lives in all wars. And whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through the distribution of the memorial flower. Do we want to go ahead and have this proclamation for May 23rd as Poppy Day? Okay, I'll finish reading then. Therefore, the commissioners of Jackson County, Kansas do hereby proclaim this 23rd day of May 2025 as Poppy Day and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy on this day. And I guess they want me to sign it?
Yeah.
Well, I'll just sign it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need a motion to have this Poppy Day proclamation?
I move that we approve the proclamation for the American Legion.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept the Poppy Day proclamation. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Yes, ma'am. Some payroll changes. Full-time maintenance for Banner and Adult Services, Intensive Supervision Officer. So it looks like these are new hires. Kurt talked to us about that last 2 weeks ago. And we have some change orders. And Todd, you said that you had some stuff to go over with Kate also?
Well, and I can give you that real quick.
Well, the
too.
reason I'm asking, I'm gonna take off here in just a few minutes, probably a quarter after, walk down to the church. I've got a funeral to attend,
Okay.
and then I will be back, so.
Yeah, well, it's up to you, I mean, that's not, I think it's just the resolution for her deputy,
Okay,
but I think it's just it's a draft so far, so it's not ready for action.
so I will be letting Keith take over the meeting here in just a little bit.
they have lines up there paying taxes today.
They were swamped last week, but I think it was a driver's license.
Probably, but today they should be getting taxes.
I got mine in front of me.
All right, I'm going to excuse myself now and head to funeral. Keith, I'll let you handle the meeting.
Okay, you wanna be here for Kate information, or do you wanna wait?
What, do you know what she wants to talk about?
Yeah, just the last meeting that she had, and she's just gonna go over the handout, minutes from it.
That'd be fine. Yeah, you, just go ahead and get down there so we can get that taken care of.
Did you have an email?
From Kate?
No, that we need to talk about.
When did it come?
It's two commissioners.
Oh, the commissioners.
Yeah, May 2nd.
From,
Which one is it? Oh, I saw that. No, I don't need to talk about that.
Okay, that's fine.
That's over across hall.
Okay, so I didn't know if
No.
it made any difference to us or not.
and who was it from?
It's Tim.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I didn't see it.
All right, I shall return.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep. Yep, Kate's available, if she wants to come down. That would be great.
Are you available? Yeah. Thanks. Can you guys come in the 15th for bills?
That's Thursday.
Thursday? Or can you stop in the office beforehand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna try to have the credit cards done, but we won't have everything in.
I've got to do the RV banquet awards at 8 o'clock. So I'll just run up after that. Okay. And sign whatever. We can just do it individually. Thank you.
You were to figure out who that. Yeah. Okay.
What you got going on? Just
Yeah, the
report.
special use permit letter, or approval letter is there. You would know if you had anything to add. If you wanna read the minutes and then, look at that letter.
Okay. Was Jonathan running the meeting? Dick wasn't in?
No.
Mr. Lake, maybe.
Is there already, there's already a.
That's what we need to talk about.
Okay.
Because I didn't, I'm trying to, with what we talked about joining with the statute says, to see if I can get it right. The statute is describing anything related to deputy. So I don't know, but I looked and I couldn't see it. I know that the list saying that's the deputy, right, you know. So I don't know if you've already done that, so you can go around your name or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, versus like the cruiser one that I was talking about,
Well, I guess that's,
or establishing specifically deputy appraiser.
yeah, that's, the question I had was, do you have somebody who you call informally or formally deputy appraiser? You do? Okay. Is that the same person we're talking about, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and do you have anybody else who's the deputy appraiser?
Not currently.
Okay. But you had, if you had another person come in and call them deputy too. So I've seen that.
Yeah, if they get to that level.
Okay. Well, let me ask the question, is what do you want this person to be in the hierarchy, if there is such a thing? Because what I got is the statutes say, you know, the appraiser can appoint a deputy, and that's really it. And that's supposed to fit within, it seems like it fits within kind of the governance of that, office of the appraiser or something like that, the state body. That fits within that they license them to do whatever. So, this is kind of the way I came at it, just because that's what the statute's kind of hinting at. So I think we could also change the name and say, this person shall be X, which is the equivalent of deputy appraiser under the statute. But that's kind of up to you, what you're trying to get at here. What we need for this.
It would be somebody that is getting or has an RMA.
What's our name? This,
Registered master appraiser.
Fisher, what, him? Next?
Mass appraiser.
So that was what, I'm trying to figure out that list of approved appraisers, pursuant to 19/420/432. Is that what that is, or is?
Yeah, it doesn't specifically talk about credentials or. It's very generic, just like that I can put one. You know?
Yeah. Says the director of property evaluation shall maintain a current list of persons eligible to be appointed to the office of appraiser.
And they keep track of all of our education points and.
Inclusion on this list shall be made dependent upon successful completion of written examination as adopted by and administered by the board. So is that the RMA you're talking about? Okay. that only just says that being on that list means you're eligible to be appointed
That's
as
if you,
appraiser.
yeah, if you have, all of your credits, you've passed your exam, you've passed the eligibility exam, done your case studies and all that, then they'll put you on the list saying that you have an RMA, and that you're eligible to
Yeah,
be,
be appointed, yeah. So, and part two there just says you don't have to be qualified, specifically have that certification to be in this
you should be
position.
actively seeking. And that's the thing, when just the standard deputy, because that technically isn't a requirement to be a deputy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we just need to change that name and trying to figure out, unlock my word board. Figure out what it seemed like the dagger to be assistant appraiser. Sergeant appraiser. Chief
So,
auto washer
Why
appraiser.
does there have to be a resolution?
And what?
Why does there have to be a resolution?
I thought that's what you guys were looking for. I just had my notes to get a resolution.
reappoint me,
No, no,
there has to be a resolution for,
okay. But I had a, oh gosh, I thought, okay, that's what I, maybe I made my notes wrong because I was
yeah, it's
thinking you wanted a resolution for appointment of your second. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I was gonna say
a resolution to reappoint.
Well, that'd be easier to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, I was gonna say, I got lost for some.
Yeah, for some reason I got hung up on the conversation about the person who's doing this and you need a resolution for them.
No, me,
Okay, well,
I have to give that to property evaluation,
okay,
director.
okay. I can read that.
And there should be one out there already. It's not the right year or number, but we're going to follow. I don't know, my resolution was done then, it was just the contract that, or stating resolution. So I can
Yes, I'm sorry.
put that back to you. It's less complicated.
I thought there was, yeah, I thought there was something else. Yeah, it's just that, it's just accepts your employment, it doesn't say you're employing anybody.
So, as I read through this, there's a lot of concern about the condition of the property and the condition of, people's property around it. But we don't have an agency within the county that's gonna go out and make sure that this gets cleaned up. So how are we going to, and I see that they
Referring
approved it.
to like the water condition, the neighbors.
Yes, the trash, yes, those types of things, the excess amount of vehicles, all those types of things. How are we gonna, how does that board plan to make sure that that's done?
Well, they redirected it back to, they were there for the business aspect and not the other conditions on that property.
Okay.
So it was presented as a special use permit for the auto repair taking place in that shop. And he has the materials and is building a privacy fence around the back of that shop.
So will your office be tasked with going out and make sure that that's definitely done?
Probably so, right?
Yeah, that's the question.
It's the building permit part of it, right? I mean,
Well,
it's
the
just-
building permit part is done. This would be checking on the special use permit aspect. They didn't make that one of the stipulations.
It's on that.
I guess figuring that it was going to happen or progressing, that was the intent. A lot of the vehicles that were on the aerial were his own.
Yeah, well, he's got like 2 or 3 that he can't get title to, and what does he do with those? And yada, yada.
They didn't think he should have to
Accepting
clean up a
contracts.
unit or take care of anything before they.
They thought that that was a separate issue and they wanted to keep that separate from what was before them.
And how does that get handled? I mean, basically, we have to have Todd send a letter to him saying, this has got to be cleaned up.
It's a nuisance problem?
And I don't know those creeks that are emptying into her pond. And how do we know whose property it's coming from? That's always to, how do we determine that?
That's not our bailiwick.
Right.
I mean, that's
That would be
It's like
EPA.
EPA.
EPA, or engineers, depending on the size and the waters of the United States.
It's kind of like the property that's been built by Emmett that was built in floodplain, clearly.
Yeah.
That's the state of Kansas's
Well,
responsibility.
you guys passed a floodplain ordinance, which gives you some primacy in that. I don't know that you have anything on just discharging into streams, other than probably ones associated with wastewater systems or the
Yeah.
septic system or something.
Right.
I mean, I think you should have to have his fence up before.
We had the authority to hold this here at this level until we're satisfied that it's been cleaned up. I mean, we have to sign off on it.
Well, did the planning commission make that condition?
No.
They didn't make it a condition, and I don't think you can impose your own condition on that. I think you could reject it with that saying you don't think that should be done, or you can say,
Send it back.
send it back with additional findings to say why, you can pointedly say, why does the planning commission think it appropriate to do this in light of the fact that the property is, in violation of, it is creating a nuisance for other property, or whatever it is, however you phrase it.
Thoughts, Linda? Do you want to send it back to him, saying,
I mean, you said you were gonna put up a fence.
Yeah.
You know, I just think the fence needs to put up before.
The,
You can say it, but not do it.
Correct.
The majority of those vehicles are his. So, do you want the fence put up for just the vehicles he's working on? Or are you wanting it to conceal all of his vehicles? Because
Yeah,
I think that's probably where they were going with this, because he says he's got a couple at a time, and those are in the shop when he's working on. He said a couple of them in that aerial, and he pointed them out, were, and this was from December, those were vehicles he was working on for other people.
what was the sentiment of the people who brought letters in? It's hard to tell sometimes.
So the one neighbor and her son brought in pictures of her pond
Mhm.
and all that, basically.
They're pretty upset, or just concerned, or?
Concerned that there's gonna be dumping and more trash in her pond.
But you're not sure if the trash has come from him or they are.
Yeah, yeah, hard to tell.
You don't really know.
Yeah. She had pictures of the back of the property, and he's working on getting topsoil to fill in some fill that he's got, some trash fill.
So he's gonna bury some trash on site. I have a problem with that, because if it's not buried correctly, I mean, we don't have open pit landfills across the county. I guess I have some reservations still about this.
Again, I think that's probably reasons, you know, I think the way to keep it alive, that kind of get these corrected, is to send it back with, you know, findings, if you will, about some of these issues. Meaning, say, we're asking for further examination by the planning commission of the effect of the current use of the property, second, the current nuisance conditions on the property, whether they should continue, and whether or not this, you know, this procedure is consistent with obtaining those ends.
With the what?
With obtaining those ends.
Is that your thought? I think we send it back to him.
Sounds good to me. I'm not really sold on it because it's like we're approving it, but that doesn't mean that he's gonna take care of the problems.
I mean, it sounds like some real issues. You know, if you have neighbors that have stuff coming off, what appears to them coming off his property into their pond, and some other things, and, I mean,
How would you, like me to present, what kind of conditions are we talking? Does there need to be an inspection? Like, who would inspect that? As far as,
I don't believe it would be the county that would be inspecting it.
like are you referring to like the landfill portion of it, like the trash fill?
Yeah, well, I
Like,
think,
what aspects are you wanting?
Yeah,
well, I
that,
guess I hadn't looked at that, so I don't know what the basis of this is, but I had the idea that it was up in the parent meeting, that everybody knew that this guy was stacking up. I mean, I guess that's, if there has to be an investigation, I don't know. I mean, the way I do all these things is that there is a point where somebody from authority has said, these conditions exist, and have pictures of them. You know, so it's a little easier in the city because you're not back in the property, but you're out front, you take pictures of a car, two cars, or junk cars on the front yard, take a picture of the garbage on the other side, and you send notice. That's a nuisance. So I guess that's my question, does this have can somebody present pictures and whatever of the conditions?
She had pictures with her, I could probably get them.
Okay. Well, then that, I mean, if that's good enough to establish that as being an issue, then I don't think there's any other investigation that needs to be done. You just say what those present to the planning commission. You're not, this process is not to enable the use of nuisance conditions, or hiding nuisance conditions, if that's what you're talking about. And if you've got a clear view of what the problem is, so that people on all sides know what has to be done. I mean, to get this, you have to, one, agree not to use it as a dumping yard, and number two, you need to remove X, Y, Z. Then, you know, and it's pretty clear what you mean. That to me is enough.
So are you wanting to, have him halt his business until he gets the topsoil and on the fill site and?
I'm not sure he legally can just put topsoil on rubbish in a ditch.
Who's that? Is this the same as Vancouver? Okay. It's not a floodplain, right?
Yeah.
So the plan, his plan is just to put dirt on the garbage.
He's buried it and is planning on putting a layer of topsoil.
What's his business?
He's working on automobiles in his shop.
Car fixing shop, machine.
I'm just trying to figure out how you, what exactly in that is where we have. I mean, so what makes it illegal for him to put topsoil on?
What makes it legal?
Yeah, what makes it illegal?
Illegal?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's the source. Is it county regs, county resolution?
I would think it would
zoning
be
regs?
KDHE, but, I mean, we can talk to Scott, but, I mean, we have to jump through all kinds of hoops to bury. We can't bury trash in Jackson County. It's only construction material, wood, that type of thing. And it has to be covered on a daily basis, and we have test wells so that we make sure that we're not contaminating water sources around it. And I would think there would be a lot of people upset with that in this community, you know, that we're talking about, well, who knows what's in this ditch, and if that's contaminating water sources, I think people would be upset about that. I'd be upset if it was my pond.
Yeah. And I'm piecing together how that translates into what you guys are doing here, because you've got a right angle.
So I think at this point, what we need to do is give Kate direction that we're not in favor of this, and we're kicking it back to them until some of these issues have been taken care of in a correct way, not just, I mean.
Have they sent you, is this official action by the planning commission to approve special use permit? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Did you give a copy of the minutes?
I did not.
Maybe give Todd a copy of the minutes.
So what I would say is that you guys, it needs to be, as I was saying, it just needs to be official action that you're and of course, the statute, you're remanding this to the planning commission to review and talk about.
Okay. And then we'll compile a list of things they need to talk about, but at this point in time, until some of those things are taken care of, we're not in favor of this change, this special use permit.
I would
like
say-
Linda, I mean, once the special use permit is given, what teeth do we have to hold somebody accountable?
I guess, was this one, I guess some of them have review periods are only for 5-10 years. Is that the case in this one?
No.
No, it's permanent?
Do we
Well,
have,
during ownership, or his ownership of
Okay.
it.
Todd, do we have the authority to pull this permit if things aren't cleaned up? So if we say, okay, you can go ahead and start, but based on the review, these are procedures you have to go through to get this cleaned up. If they're not within a certain period of time, we're gonna pull your special use permit and be out of business.
I think if we put conditions on it, that's kind of the goal of this whole thing, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the planning commission didn't put it in there in the first place, you guys gotta do it, so. I mean, I don't like the idea of letting them start.
Okay, yeah, I don't either, but I just asked a question.
Yep.
Just seemed like there were quite a few neighbors that were expressed concern about trash and the condition.
So, the best option here be for me, you guys just table this for now and let me
Put together,
drop a remand motion.
yeah. If you're okay with that.
Yes.
Can I get a copy? I don't need a copy of the special use permit letter, approval letter. You wanna just hang on to that?
Oh, that, is that the only one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I just see that. Yeah, we'll just, if Mark wants to read that, but we'll just hang on to that and table the special use permit until we have some answers to these questions, and you can share with the planning commission what our concerns are.
So,
But Todd will put something together and get it to you.
we'll publish it again for the June meeting.
Well, if you guys, I don't know if you want to publish it until you've got until they feel like that's appropriate. The reason we do that is if you're going to accept or to send this back, right? So what we're saying is, I think this is going to say to them, look at these things, and they could say, right back, for sure. That's very, we told you what we thought. You know, that's their right to say back to the commission here that, basically we don't have a problem with it. You have a problem with it, put it down. I mean, it's probably not saying it that way, but,
Right.
so I'm having trouble with the idea that, I think they should meet first and say, well, are we gonna look at this like they asked and give them findings, or are we gonna just fair through, or what are we gonna do? And then I would say, then you have a notice meeting, like you said, for the public at a different time to say, okay, we got the evidence, this is what we're gonna do, or we gather the evidence and we're rejecting everything you said, or whatever, because they just, I don't know that you have to, you've had a public hearing, right? Yeah, I don't know if the remand requires that for further fact. So I'll check that too. But I'm thinking, I'm having a hard time believing that you're just making notices for every meeting. And if they don't approve it or don't have the idea they're going to approve it right then, it's a waste of publications.
Just wait for that.
Yep.
so you have a work session or anything scheduled before any of that?
In 2 weeks.
So you could give them that information at that meeting.
22nd.
One second.
That's not 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but yours have their numbers.
Did you get this read yet?
No.
The 29th.
Oh,
Yeah.
But you're on vacation.
The solar.
yeah, I'll be gone the last week.
Yeah, so is there a work session then?
No,
Oh, it's,
it's on the 22nd.
so it is next week.
Yeah, next week.
Okay.
Assume you got it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, just light reading.
Yeah, that was sent on to them too.
Okay, cool.
aye. Yes.
Good morning.
Maybe something in there about the date, maybe it's the June date. I couldn't remember what this, there's a date that's. I think maybe 22nd. Because I always assume that it's on that last Monday before. Oh, no, it just says effective date.
July 1.
25.
Yeah. Well, the approval's gotta be on the record because it's on.
It's been approved, they just haven't signed it. It's the new minutes, so it's, they can't go until it's signed.
Okay, well then that's, yeah, what you,
That's what we're reading for tonight.
Yep. Anything else from you? Is that what you said? Anything else from me?
So, thanks. Amy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Chairman Pruitt's gone for a little bit this morning, so he'll be back later.
Okay. Before I go into this computer thing, when I came down to you met about budget, I don't know if you remember, but I was asking for $20,000 for server upgrade, and we took that out of my budget and was gonna put that from attorney's fees from the first quarter back into my capital outlay. So, and then I was gonna use that capital outlay for that server upgrade.
Okay.
My capital outlay balance is currently 0, so I don't think that's been put in there yet, so how are we gonna go forward with that?
I'd have to go back and look at the exact, what we said when she was down here.
Yeah, I just have it in my notes that my approved budget was gonna be $495,755, and that the 20,000 less was gonna be from the 45,900 that were attorney reimbursements, that was gonna go to capital outlay, so I'm gonna use that for that server upgrade.
When was that you were down here?
Oh, gosh.
Was it in April, March?
Looks like maybe April,
I'm looking back. No.
and this would of course been 2024 for 2025, yeah. Was it that early?
Well, I think it would have had to be,
You printed this in April, so
it
maybe.
would have had to be a pretty, because Scott was.
Well, I can tell you when you approved it, I guess it's probably here on this side page. It's not April.
April 7th was when we were down. Did you find anything?
Look for it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm gonna run a report so I can slap a
Okay.
date on it, so I don't forget.
Okay, we'll get that
Okay.
taken care of.
Okay, so then with that said, Windows 10, I'm sure you all know, is ending as of
Heard rumor.
this fall, whatever that is, October or November. And some of our computers are not even compatible to upgrade to Windows 11. So we're working on that issue right now. As you know, I had already budgeted for 5 new computers this year, but we're gonna have to replace a few more than that to keep running. So with that said, what I just handed you was a quote to keep us in compliance with Windows 11. We will be getting 5 new PCs
PCs, 3 new laptops. All of our monitors have to be replaced because they are the old 10 pins. They haven't been replaced in so long that they don't have HDMI cables or square D cables, so then they basically aren't compatible with new computers. So there's 18 new monitors on there. There's also 6 docking stations on there, so what we're going to do is actually cut down on our monthly costs. We're going to buy laptops with docking stations for everybody except for the courtrooms. The courtrooms will stay PCs. But we're going to buy laptops with docking stations so that I can just pick up my laptop and go into court. But in doing that, it's also going to cut about $430, I think, if I figured it right, $430 a month out of our monthly costs to NCS because we'll have fewer devices. So now we pay per device, so we'll be, you know, at least 5 devices less. probably
Because
6.
you have the docking station, that just counts as one device, but multiple.
Right, so what happens is basically when we're sitting at our desks, it'll be like we're working on a PC, but all we're gonna do with the docking station, we'll hook up to our keyboards and our monitors and our cameras and whatever we have for devices. And then we'll just put our laptop down, plug a cord into it, that goes back to the docking station, and basically from our desk we'll be working from the laptop, but we'll have a separate keyboard mouse just as in our 2 monitors, just as if we were working now on our PCs.
Gotcha.
So then that'll eliminate the need for a PC and a laptop, because now we have both. And this way we'll just have one.
So the 14,312.76, that's gonna be what it's gonna cost to.
Yes, and there are just some minor adjustments that we need to make to this. He quoted us 24-inch monitors, and in the small courtroom, there's not room for 24-inch monitors where the clerk sits. So we need 2, either 19 or 22 inches. So he'll take out 2 of the 24s and give us some a little smaller. And then Judge Merrick still needs a DVD reader because he's also going to go to a laptop with a docking station. But you can't find a laptop anymore these days with a DVD player. And he still uses those when he's watching car cam and body cam videos. A lot of times they come on DVD.
Okay.
But they're like, I don't know, $35. So there'll be some minor adjustments with the difference in the 2 monitors that we need to be a little bit smaller in that. But it's going to be probably not much by the time they go 2 smaller monitors and then have a DVD.
And so this money for this hardware is gonna have to come from the county from someplace.
No, I have this budgeted. I budgeted for, excuse me, 16,000.
Okay.
16,500 to do computer upgrades. So even though I was only going to do 5, it looks like we have enough budgeted to cover all this. And then we'll also have that savings every month because we're going to get 3 of us already have laptops. We can just do docking stations almost immediately. So we'll see like an immediate savings as soon as we can get those. So we'll have, you know, a little bit of savings for 6 months also if, you know, but I do have this in my budget currently.
Okay. We just need approval from us to spend the money.
Yeah.
And so it's Network Computer Solutions, that's who takes care of all your?
That's our IT
stuff?
vendor, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions? I don't have any questions. Seems like you got it lined out and we'll figure out get the transfer. So.
Yeah, so we'll be working on that server upgrade between now and October. But obviously I noticed the money wasn't there, so, because this does not include the server upgrade, this is just for our PCs to make them compatible.
Right.
So,
when you get, I don't know if we want to make a motion today, if we don't have an exact number. Do you think it will exceed this by much? Or?
I don't think it will, because I'm assuming that the 22-inch monitors will be a little cheaper, and then the DVD reader is, like I said, it's like $35 on Amazon. So
we can have a motion not to exceed $500 more than what this is. I mean, you're okay with that?
Okay.
Or should she just bring in purchase orders when she actually has?
Yeah, as long as, I mean, to approve the motion, or to approve we don't want to give just open checkbooks, so not to exceed $500 more than what the current estimate is. Should be okay. So, I'll entertain that motion.
So moved.
It's been moved, I'll second it, to approve network computer solutions for the Jackson County District Court for $14,312.76, not to exceed $500 additional. If there's some tweaks made, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign.
And then there's still some confusion on the phone lines.
Okay.
Dave said he'd be available if we wanted to call him this morning. When him and I talked to get them switched over, there was still some confusion as to exactly what he needs to do.
Okay, so, I mean, and that's great, I think either he needs to call in and talk to you and to the clerk's office. I'm not sure how that involves the commission.
Okay.
What,
I don't know who he talked to or what was discussed with him initially, and that's the problem
Okay.
with me.
he does?
Because I asked him, he said, so I'm setting up a calling tree, but blah, 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 and I said, I wasn't part of that discussion, so I don't know.
We did.
Could I suggest maybe you call Lance?
Okay, he's been on all the emails.
He would probably be the better one to talk to, because when I talked to.
Who is it?
On the phone, Lance.
Oh, for sure.
When
I
we
mean,
had that
yes,
phone
Lance would
conversation
be
here,
good.
I don't think he was tracking what I was trying to say to him, and I think Lance.
Yeah, Lance
Okay.
is a very good technician.
But why did the two of you call together? I mean, try to do it at the same. So we
Aaron
both.
did call Lance the other day, but Lance was in an area where his phone was cutting out, and I don't know if they talked behind the scenes, and Aaron was out of the office for now.
So
They were
get
trying
together
to
with Aaron
discuss it. Yeah.
and coordinate that, because I don't have any pertinent, I mean, to me, it seems like it ought to be a fairly simple thing.
I would think so also, but it doesn't seem that there is. So let me just ask you this, the solution then is, if they have to create a new calling tree from 4 to 4:30, to leave us in it, but somehow get that to forward to voicemail. It's not like we're
Yeah.
creating a new calling tree where we're taking district court out, so it's not an option for 4 to 4:30. Because I think that's where the confusion is. And then my last thing would be, I have been busy forfeiting cash bonds. I meant to bring that amount down with me and I haven't, but I'm just asking that for you to consider crediting the cash bond forfeitures to the county back to the district court's capital outlay.
Okay.
So those bonds are they in excess of funds and?
These are fail to appear, if people don't show up there, we send them motions to forfeit their cash bonds and they don't react on the
So
forfeitures.
you're not obligating them, so they got a fine against them, or they haven't been adjudicated in any way, right?
So you're saying if they have a bond and they paid $50 to a bail bondsman?
No, these are cash bond only, so this would be like, someone gets arrested, they post a $408 cash bond, then they don't show up for their hearing. As soon as that happens, I file a motion to forfeit their cash bond, mail it out to them. They have 60 days to either get back on our docket or take care of their case, and if they don't, then I file an order to forfeit it. When I forfeit it, 60% goes to the state, 40% goes to the county, and I don't remember that amount, but I did a hefty amount in the last month.
Christie, have we dealt with that in the past where we've had history of those coming back to us?
Not to my knowledge. I've
Okay,
never
so this
had
is
to talk
something-
about it before, and I've never done it.
And this, I mean, the distinction is that if the judge is saying you get a cash bond for just appearing, as opposed to a bond can be issued also when they've been adjudicated as guilty for the crime, and they have a $1,000 fine, and it's,
Right, so if they have fines and fees owed on the case, we usually forfeit the cash bond and apply it to their case, in which case it doesn't come back to the county, it goes into part of it might come to the county for the filing fee, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actual cash
Cash bond.
bond forfeitures.
I don't have a problem with it, it seems to make sense to go back, you guys are doing all the work. I mean, and it's through the court system, I think it should go back into your capital outlay.
That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, unless Todd comes up with some
I think
reason.
I was just concerned about the fact that they didn't want somebody, you know,
Sure.
if it was supposed to be in lieu of a fine, that they weren't credited with a fine. In this instance, they're being punished for something entirely different.
Yeah, if you want to, and if you just want to email Christie what that dollar amount is, and then she can share that with us, that'd be great.
And when you-
Just for
when you pay-
information on that.
Sure.
So like you paid it in already?
Yes, it would have come in just on our last, well, I mean, I've done several this year, but we did a hefty amount last month.
Like
Okay,
how
so
much?
you're gonna have to get me an amount to transfer to your.
And I can do that easily, it's just a click of a couple buttons to run a report. I have a dollar amount in my mind, but I don't wanna be wrong, so I don't
Yeah,
wanna
I'm
throw
just
it out.
curious, just to,
I thought it was,
Under 10,000, over 10,000.
I think it was over 10,000 for just last month, but let me double check on that, because I've been looking at numbers a lot lately, and I may have that mixed up with another number. But I know if I'm wrong, I know it was like at least 4,700, because that's the other number in my mind.
Yeah, to me, you know, if we're putting that back into their capital outlay, and that's less money that the county taxpayer has to supplement by computers or do things like that. Perfect place for that to go. We do a similar thing with the sheriff on some money that he receives back on, you know, sale of confiscated vehicles and things like that. And I feel like if he's doing the work, you're doing the work. It's a great place for it to go. Okay?
Okay, yeah, I can email Christine the amount. I'll give you the amount from last month, but then I'll run a report for this year.
Okay, so then from now on, when you pay it in, you'll pay it into your account. Correct.
Yeah, let's just be sure that we're documenting these numbers for future, so that if somebody would come in and say, I want to see why you're doing what we're doing, we can show them.
Yeah, I mean, they get reported to the treasurer's office every month as forfeitures anyway, so they go into a specific
okay.
forfeiture account. So.
Okay.
I
Well, if
think
that's something that hasn't been done in the past very much, I appreciate the fact that you guys are doing that, because that just saves the county taxpayer money.
Yeah, it has been done in the past, just at a slower pace, which I totally get. It took me almost 18 months to get the very first one done, and I worked on it. I can't tell you how many times I've had to start over, but fingers crossed, I'm fully staffed currently. Hopefully it's gonna stay that way. And I try to forfeit them within 24 hours of their fail to appear, so.
Cool.
Is that the county bond forfeiture fund?
Yes,
Okay, so right now, there, as at the end of April, there was 3,382.40. So you probably paid it in May? I don't have any May on this.
just last week, I think I got that check.
So it's probably May.
Yeah. That would make sense. Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
all right, thank you
Yep.
guys.
Yep. Todd, did you?
Oh, shoot, you know what, I have one more thing, sorry.
That's okay.
Judge Elder would like to, come over sometime, I think he was gonna email you, Todd, ahead of time, just to give you some time to look at it, I don't know if he's done that or not. He would like to come over sometime and meet with you regarding remodeling our office and or some safety issues up there. His Monday mornings are full, and he wanted me to ask if you would be willing to stay into the afternoon.
Or, I mean, I don't have a problem with coming in on another day if it's more convenient for him, if that's, you know, and we can get together and have a work session and just talk through stuff.
Yeah, I mean, generally, it's as long as it's not nighttime, another court hearing, I can do it during the day or call in or something like that in any case, so.
You, I'm just, you said he was gonna reach out to Todd?
I thought that's what he had told me, he was gonna reach out to Todd ahead of time and let him know that he was
Which is
going
what
to
he
do
was,
that.
probably the subject, so
Yeah.
that's fine, that,
But, yeah, if he just wants to reach out to Christie and set up a time,
Okay,
if it's later in the afternoon on a Monday, that'd be great. If Mondays doesn't work for him, we'll figure something else out.
okay, all right, sounds good, I'll let him know, thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Todd, what do you have for us?
Two things, we didn't lead an executive session, but it was good. We've got everybody here, I was gonna talk about Christmas.
Oh, I haven't told them about it, 'cause I just got a list.
Well, I don't think it's a big deal. There's a case apparently by the League of Women Voters against Secretary of State. And in that, they're allowed to do what's called a business record subpoena. And they can ask third parties to provide information under the statute. So that's been received in this case. Basically, there's a statute that was passed in 2021, I think, that required them to, in an election, if there's a mail-in ballot to match the signature on the ballot with the signature on file, and if it didn't match, then it would be rejected. And there's kind of other little details about that, but basically, I think that there's two kind of general areas I think the questions are about. It's kind of, I think it's mostly about the information coming from the Secretary of State's office in the state to the county clerks to say, here's how you do it, here's what we're training you to do, here's what we want to do. Right? And that's just kind of, but I think that's
Basically asking if we have documentation on hand, telling us what to do and how to handle the situation.
which looks pretty thin, right? Not much from then.
I have mine for some person.
Yeah, and then the other thing being is there actions that have been taken on the statute and you rejected ballots. And kind of again, what was the impetus of that? So, I mean, I guess they're probably hoping for evidence of the fact that the Secretary of State's office came in and said, oh yeah, it's time to get hardcore, here's, if there's no dot over the I, you're throwing it out, but it seems like that's probably, so it's just a little, you got 14 days to answer. Chris has already given you a preliminary answer. I think probably just fine tuning some things and we'll send it out. So that's, shouldn't be a big deal. It's just making sure we reply.
Very cool.
And then the executive will probably need to be 20 minutes. Attorney-client privilege claims against the county.
Check.
With the clerk present.
Okay. You want to read from here, basically it's I'm going to go into executive session and then instead, for the purpose of personnel matters, you're going to say attorney-client privilege.
And for how long?
So, yeah, well, for later.
How?
You can go ahead, show.
I'm going to go into executive session for the purpose of attorney-client privilege. For 20 minutes.
In this room,
In this room, including the
clerk,
clerk,
starting at 11:08.
starting at 11:08.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
All right, so
All right, we're back in session. There was no action taken. Oh, did you guys get Kate down here and get her all settled?
Yeah,
All right.
so do you wanna, kind of a brief of what we,
Yeah, that would be good.
so the zoning and planning approved the stuff for the car fix-it shop,
Okay, yeah, for boogies or whatever.
but if you read through that, or you will, the minutes, there was a lot of opposition in the sense that the place is a mess. There is a lady who has a pond that has a color to it, and there's open dumping. Believes that some of that's coming her way. His fix for it was to just cover it with dirt. But in the county, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So our decision, based on the amount of letters and people that talked there, was to push this back to the zoning and planning, because if it's approved and he's open for business again, how do we make him clean things up? So,
And, you know, and he said he was gonna put a fence, but, you know, to me, some of that stuff has to be done before.
Yeah,
Todd's gonna
okay.
put together some bullet points to go back with Kate to the zoning and planning of why we're bringing it back to them
Okay.
at this point.
Yeah, it could be a resolution kind of thing, you could sit back
Okay.
and chart it out a little bit, and then they can do what they will with it.
So what would be their next step? Then they could say,
Well, that was what Kate had a good question about, which is there another notice of hearing element to that? I don't think there is. Barring, if you denied it, then yeah, that probably would be a question. If you're saying, gather more information and advise, they could take it up that next time and just send it back to you. Say, we don't have a problem with it, if you have a problem, put it down, they would say that.
Okay.
then Amy came down, gave some information about computers. It's gonna be 14,000 plus a little bit, so we tentatively approved it, but not to go $500 more than what we had, because she said there was gonna be maybe a couple of additional things involved in that.
And she had the money for it.
Yes.
Yeah, she had none for it, okay.
Those fancy DVD players.
One asked if they needed VHS too, but
That's true.
Yeah.
But then she also is getting, she does the legwork, paperwork, whatever, to get bond forfeiture,
Mhm.
cash bond forfeiture money back. And wanted that, it just comes back to the county, but she would like to have it for her capital outlay.
I don't have no problem with that.
We do that with the sheriff on
Yeah.
forfeiture stuff that he does, gets that money back. So that was kind of the rest of
That
that.
would be a problem getting it back from, okay, switching accounts, okay. All right, perfect.
Yeah, so that way, really that money can help maybe pay for some future computers or
Yeah.
whatever that she would do. Not county tax rate.
Well, I appreciate you guys indulging me and taking off.
Yeah.
I've known Whitey since the 60s, so
Yeah.
my first baseball coach when I came to town, known him ever since, so.
Cool.
Okay, that's the minimum maintenance road. Scott brought that up this morning. We'll talk with Scott, but I was just gonna let you guys know. We have vacations on these.
166.
This is Christine. Hi. He is. Hold on just a second. Well, I'll just let you talk to him. Hold on.
This is Todd.
And you said, what are you gonna here in the
Yes,
board?
sir.
These we have vacations on. We've
Okay,
actually
you
had
vacated it.
vacations.
Okay.
But these are ones we still need to go over. So double check.
Yeah,
Okay.
what's the question?
We'll get with Scott. He's going to be next week to go over his budget with us. We'll give him a list and then Matt can go with him. And then he'll go.
Oh, Amy did say Judge Elder wanted to meet with us sometime.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Remodeling their office.
Yeah, their office is some security
Some
issues,
security
maybe some sort of door that prevents I'm sure they got wind of what the adult community corrections got with the controlled access,
Yeah.
and I think maybe they're wanting that because
Did adult community corrections pay for that?
they did.
Yeah,
But if she has enough money to pay for it, and, you know,
yeah.
but we also have some money that we budget for this building.
Well, I think there isn't any basic limits
So,
to my understanding except
I think the
what
problem
you're comfortable
is,
with. I mean, what I would
if
say
you go
is
into
that,
the court room,
if
you have to go through security.
do
Then you
interface
go
with
into
them,
their office. But if you bypass
obviously
security,
keep it as
you can
limited
go
as
directly
possible
into their office.
Yeah.
And I think, if
Provided
I'm guessing, they want some of that.
Yeah.
And then those, just to open the office up, I think they want to get rid of those big files.
Yeah, I would say,
things.
you know, we're gonna do that.
They're gonna
yeah,
put everything
but
on.
This is for your protection.
It's still digitized.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I guess allows us to
Take
use
it off.
private, so you can tell them that that's what we're doing.
So I think that's kind of the direction they want to go. What funding,
That way you can
what it would
show
look like.
that.
And didn't she say something about the small courtroom too? No?
She said,
Just their
I
office.
mean, I just don't think that there's any.
I appreciate the fact that she's
Dividing
working on the,
they don't have any access to.
forfeiture money back.
like if we stay some Monday afternoon, like Monday morning was busy for him.
Sure.
And so
Like, any Monday afternoon.
He just said they haven't called.
Still a week.
Yeah, he'll have, because, you know, her stay after me.
Okay.
Or if Mondays don't work, I
Yes.
said, we'd be glad to come in
You
on
have a regulation that says.
Yep.
I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So,
Can you come in on the 15th?
yeah, this is all about.
I should be
They're
good.
comfortable with.
Board meeting that night, I don't know often, but I should be able to
Here's,
do.
here's what we did, and here's what I did, and
Let me double
here's
check.
the recording of the whole time we talked.
Calendar, 15th, no, I'm good.
And I'll sign it, you know, document necessary, but I didn't take.
Just come up to your office then.
Anything from them, so.
Okay.
Okay.
That.
Works for me.
So if a person wants to be there at 8, that's fine.
Don't even, you know, don't accept candy or something or anything like
Okay.
that.
Sounds good.
All right.
And you not be there from 7 to?
Yeah, there's no problem with that, you can do
What's that?
whatever you
I
want
said,
to
would
do
you
with
not
that.
be there from 7 to midnight?
When,
Tuesday?
you know, early.
And I would have budgets, we're gonna have values.
Well, I was just gonna ask you when, and it's probably in the desktop, if I haven't looked at it. When do we start meeting with our
Yeah, I think
department
it's
heads
wise.
to start
I
getting
will
that
not
stuff
have-
together?
I will not have a budget worksheet until June 1st.
Okay.
So we're supposed to come out Tuesday, so hopefully maybe I can have everything entered, Mary and I can be ready, maybe meet with you guys that next week, and then you guys can kind of look at what we've got and what budgets are, and then you can have the department heads start coming in and visiting with you.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
And I saw the draft for the resolution for the assistant deputy appraiser.
But we don't need that.
We don't
No,
know.
this is what Kate's gonna, or this is what Tom's gonna talk about, right?
No, just throw that away.
Throw that away, we don't
We
need.
don't need one.
She just needed a resolution for her contract. She misunderstood.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Second,
No, throw it away.
okay. Yeah.
I was thinking I missed out something.
Well, no, not unless the commission itself is meeting with these people. I mean, and I guess I'm taking your question as being you're going out there and just talking to one of them yourself. Right? Yeah. No, no, it's not it is, at that point, it's not a record of the county of what you spoke about. It's a physical record. So, don't worry about that.
And so this is a one call.
It's where the kids come in and talk to you, tell everybody their own.
We're putting the stickers on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Tara will be down here because we're gonna go look at the building
Yeah.
this afternoon.
You can do your, one of these, I know what you're.
And I actually need to take off at 2 o'clock. If anything else is going on, I'm gonna leave at 2.
I think that's the last thing.
That'll probably be about 10 minutes, so then.
Gotcha.
table on the paper, they've got like the optimum arch,
Oh,
which
yeah.
looks like a side arrangement. I don't have an idea how much. I'll get your mom and dad in the wedding and I'm order.
Do you understand?
Take that for a tea machine. Really good.
I'm glad to hear that. There was some flowers planted this weekend. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been there and I've been out to Grand Greenhouse and something they have to pay, it's like I need to
Yep.
stop.
I think she wants a few more and we couldn't find them around here, so I think we gotta head down to Skinner's and see if we can find them there.
Yeah.
Hi, Brooke. How are you?
Okay, good, I guess, you?
Good.
You okay?
Yeah, trying.
Yeah. I gotta take this upstairs.
Well, you jump right on in. I think you're up.
Oh, okay. Very good. I wanted to meet with you guys today,
Do you need bids? Or turn? Okay.
so one was, to trade in the 2019 Chevy Malibu. It's got about 86,000 miles. I usually try to trade before 100,000. And so that, the JCK, I had a board meeting, is that the second? Yeah, Friday the 2nd, sorry, I was trying to remember which day was the 2nd, or Friday. They've approved it for the trade-in, so I'm here to ask for your approval to do that. If there's any objections or, no.
You say how many miles we got on it?
It's about 86. That's when I last checked it,
Yeah.
getting my stuff together for the JCAP, so.
Sure.
I mean, right in that ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, you got
And
money for
honestly-
everything, so I got no problem with that.
It's one of those that, I mean, to be completely blunt about it, we don't put a ton of miles on that vehicle, but with it, and not that it's old, by any means, heck, all of my vehicles are older than that. But, as for just we have the, funds to do the trade-in, it's not an issue, we just get it.
I'd get it done soon.
I got it in here.
Oh, before.
So, we'll
Yeah,
get that.
that
Yeah.
much. You know, right now, we might do that, what, 90 days?
Yeah, I'd get it done soon if you're gonna do that, yeah. But I have personally have no problem with it.
That'd be.
And not, these aren't things that I need approval on, but just that, you know, some of the unexpended
Didn't know
funds
what
that
that
we
mean.
project, we do that every year. I'm actually looking to change our IT from Networks Plus to Computer Doctors. I did not realize, so he does, it's $25 per PC, and then, but that is unlimited IT services, which I pay $75 for like 20 minutes with Networks Plus, an hour. I mean, it's not 75 an hour, it's 150, but they break it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's nuts. So that was kind of one of those, it's a no-brainer. But I want to purchase, initially he did put me on PCs to upgrade ours at the office. They're over 5 years old. Again, we try to do that every 5 years,
Yep.
and we've got the funds to do it. But initially, when he sent me the quote, I was looking at FY '24 for the budget expenses for the financial piece. But his quote actually, at that time, would have been over what our allowable expenses are, but now, but it's not for FY '25, which our fiscal year starts over in July, just
Okay.
to be, so I'm gonna do some upgrades to the PCs, and I'm also gonna purchase a desktop for the satellite office over in Wamego. The idea would be, I've been trying to at least do 1, sometimes 2 days a week over there. But then Holly Roberts also, who comes from that direction. The idea is to have her and land there a couple of days a week versus coming all the way up here. And so I was like, well, we all have laptops, but having a desktop would be nice. That office is also used by Jessica Jack, which is our part-time IT officer and intake officer. So that would be nice. And then I was looking to upgrade 6 of the cell phones, the work phones. That's pretty much it. The other piece is that I talked with our board about, so right now, so at the end of the end of third quarter, we had a balance of basically $50,000, which will continue to grow. And the concern is that, so through the state, there were a lot of state agencies were going to take a reduction under budget. KDOC was earmarked, but it's still unclear if that's going to be exempt as a total or just the facilities. So our lobbyist is saying it's the total, like all of DOC. However, our deputy secretary is saying that's unclear and we know it's facility. So what they're doing is any unexpended funds from FY24, and they're only looking at our graduated sanction grant, which is the 4 programs. So we have multiple programs and grants. They're looking at that and they're saying it's like a 0.4%. So they would possibly reduce our FY26 by about $6,000 is what our district would take for just the juvenile division. Because out of the 1.5, they were looking at DOC doing 1.6 out of the juvenile portion. Sorry, 3.1. They were looking at juvenile division only doing the 1.6, and so that they were looking at each district and the unexpended fund. This has kind of brought up a thing, and this is what my board has really pushed for years. That I try to use up all the money every year. However, we've always been a more conservative district, and our needs have been met. And we have never looked at it like, you just go, whereas a lot of the directors and the teams I'm on, that's what they do. I mean, this is what we do, and it's responsible spending. It's not being ridiculous.
Yeah.
However, with that coming to the forefront, and like, what does that look like? One of the things, so in FY22, the spring of 22, our employees were moved to the same scale as the OJA branch. So we got those extra funds, and that was to increase our salaries and benefits to match. And so one of the things that I talked with the board, and I wanted to have more of a discussion, was about would it be responsible for us to move to the FY25 pay scale to be the same as OJA like we did in 22? They went ahead and approved it. However, that brings me to you on whether that's something you approve or not. And so the idea back in 22 and the idea right now is to be competitive with court services and their pay scale. And that's where this comes in. And so,
There again, you're going to have to remain competitive, or you're not going to have anybody. They're not going to come hire anybody or keep anybody.
what other districts are having issues with so far, we've been, even the intakes, our intake staff, I mean, if we've lost the staff, it is not due to not wanting to do it anymore, it's because of either moving or something very personal that they weren't able to continue. That is kind of unheard of in the other districts, and I think it's because we've been able to, with their years of experience in paying them and appreciating that. And so, and retaining that is huge.
Yeah.
So that's my next thing to discuss with you.
So you don't always, you don't keep their salaries up, you don't like keep.
So since I've been director, I pushed in the beginning to get our pay scale competitive with what would be compared to the 22nd and the 21st district. So your northern 4 counties and then Riley and Clay. Because our numbers were traditionally the same. Now we are way above with the reform because we have, I would say, strong programs and our courts and we have administrative orders and things that help to secure that because they like our work and they like our programs. And so since 22, we were not, our pay scale really changed drastically. And it was to be at that same level because so many.
Went up.
Oh, yeah, it went way up. I mean,
And there was some controversy over that.
there was, yeah, there was.
But we were fully in just for these two, little history, the board at that time was fully in favor of it. We felt like it
Correct,
needed to be done.
correct. I think the controversy was mostly around, to be 100% honest. The deal was,
Yeah.
is that, so chief of courts is usually at a tier 3 of CSOs. And they had voted, and the commissioners had voted at the administrative court level. So which is grade 50 or whatever. And that's where through the board, and it was mostly because the chief of court, like, hey, they put in time to, what the board was looking at is that on 4 counties 24/7. It is not something that ends at a certain time, it's all the time. It doesn't ever stop. And so, which is also different, not true, but it's like when you take adult corrections and juvenile services, I mean, we are literally intake all the way up, whereas adult corrections is supervision and can be some parole release, but most of that is done differently as well. So that's where, yeah, it's in a very uncomfortable situation, I will say.
Sure.
But as for our supervision officers and all of the rest of it, I mean, that's what we did is everything got approved and moved to that scale. And we've stayed, and that would be the same for, if we get the approval through you as well, that we got from the board, that we would move to that same scale, same grade, same that was approved just for the FY25, which court services is also going to get a 2.5 increase come July 1. And we're not looking at that on top of that. It's just to move in that direction to close the gap a little bit.
So you got the money and everything for your budget?
Correct.
So
And this is more or
their
less
board
securing.
approved.
Yes, their board has approved it. So do you need just a general consensus from us? Do you need a
Correct.
motion from us? Then I would ask for Keith.
Yeah, I'd move that we approve the change in pay scale.
Linda?
I'll second.
And this, just to be clear, the big reason for this is not only to be competitive, but also the fact that we always have unexpended funds. And if
Right.
this is the trend that it's going to go,
Be
I
fiscally
don't wanna be
responsible is
just-
not a bad thing.
there you go, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't
That's what
understand, yeah, it makes no sense why
No.
they would take it away if you're not spending it. I mean,
I need you to finish that.
Yep, we're going to finish it.
Oh.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and just make a motion, just make it clear to everybody. So it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the pay scale for Brooke. And so do I hear any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now it's official.
There you go.
yeah, good deal.
Well, thank you. Other than that,
But then on the car, yeah,
Yeah.
and that can be anywhere, or are we, does that change? Is it
anywhere trade, you mean?
Mhm. I mean, I will be honest, I always start here.
Yeah,
But I will also tell you that IKEA has also become very competitive.
yeah,
And a lot of, I talk to mechanics all the time, like, what do you stay away from, what do you buy, and
Right.
interesting enough, Kia is like commonly spoken of as good quality. They're not seeing a lot of issues, a lot of recalls, a lot of problems.
that's,
Sure.
we've always in the past just left it.
Yeah,
open.
I mean, to me,
Yeah.
that's up to you. That you do what you need to do to get the best deal you
As
can.
a whole, the commission tries to buy within the county if possible, but
Right.
it's not always possible.
Yeah.
I mean, the sheriff has to go way out of county sometimes to purchase vehicles, just because that's the way it is.
Right, well, again, the pricing there. I will still do the 3 sealed bids regardless,
Okay.
or more if it's more than that. Because I do like that,
Right.
competitive.
Yeah.
Secretly, I love it. And it makes it super easy for me when I just hand them the paper, they get to look over the car and then send me what they got. And then it's like, okay, very good. All right.
All right, sounds good.
Happy day.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Enjoy your outing or whatever you guys get to go to someday.
All right, we'll see you later. Thank you, Brooke. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Has this already been approved?
It's been approved.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that seems like it's a start. I mean, I think we can, sometimes a biblical thing from narrative that's describe, in your words, describe what the problem is. Yeah, I guess that means there, that's okay. Yeah, I just don't know offhand what your guys' structure is in your codes. Is that in here anywhere?
Not really.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's what I'm saying. I would prefer to have something a little, clearer. Procedure wise on how I,
You're planning on breaking, are you planning on taking a break?
Yeah, we might as well because,
Okay, I just,
yeah.
double checking.
Yep.
Well, here's probably the one thing that maybe we're not thinking of is that there's state law on nuisances.
ADHD. So there's a site that you can go on. You can go on their site and you can, voice a concern about a property.
Well, this is, I'm talking about an actual nuisance condition, meaning it doesn't, if you assume that something's wrong, it doesn't violate one of those things, then remember it's generally applicable. That's what should be part of this.
Your year-to-date information.
Yeah, once you start in that, right, you can't have a bid.
Should it be?
And then you got the whole code. So that, I've got, my city codes have, thick portion about how that all goes down.
I think it should be there, it's in the form.
Riley County,
Matters. It doesn't show, I'll get you today. All the way in.
I'd be backwards. Come in last week.
But the,
I thought they were gonna get
well,
one.
I was thinking that there's already a structure in
You
the
did one?
We didn't meet last
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were.
state statute.
Yeah.
You-
Come down and see us.
Okay.
Come down and see us.
there should be year-to-date.
All right.
If I'm reading it, right, year-to-date should be accumulation of that.
All right.
Take a break for lunch.
Is everybody ready for minutes? If you haven't, we'll do it after lunch.
I have it.
Okay, perfect. We'll just
I got
move on.
about halfway through.
Kate, did you have something for us? Anything more?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. That funeral?
Yeah.
We got signed. Anything untoward?
I was just pointing out, year to date, doesn't seem like it comes up right. I was gonna visit with you, and then we go for lunch, I'm sure I'll read it on
I've never read a spreadsheet long thrown in my life.
She'll tell me.
It's kind of just the way the titles are at the top.
Yeah, so this should show year to date, right? Yeah,
And I'm just gonna have to do some looking here, because
that is right there.
let's see what I'm just looking for.
So where, okay,
If you hop down here, is this your regular salary? And this is the year to date. Yes.
well, wouldn't it be, oh, right here? Oh, so you're
Well,
all clear on
You send people, your
So that's what it's showing.
distinction is that
That's your net at the top, and if you drop
Right, I
below
mean,
that,
it was net.
then it's got
the
the
zoning administration part of this shouldn't be a
Because
nuisance.
on mine, it doesn't show,
Because nuisance
it doesn't show anything on that page, but it's all must be.
is just separate, because you can't, there's no way that you can lawfully maintain a nuisance even if it's zoned correctly. Okay, so,
Okay. Okay.
um,
Makes sense.
and the methodology of it is that you have to do recess, set there, and
Not here.
you can
Okay.
write a letter, but then
Okay.
you have to have somebody where they can go to and
Right.
dispute and have a hearing.
Thank you. I knew it was wrong. I mean,
If they don't, and something enforcement has to happen, there's a criminal penalty, or the county goes out and baits it, picking stuff up. So, I mean, that's kind of what that starts. It starts, if you're just saying, we're just writing letters, then that's one way we're never gonna take it seriously, you're just wasting everybody's time. You need a methodology to go through with faith and, or,
Todd, did you have anything more for us?
you might have some, you're asking me that?
Yes.
Not right now, we're gonna have to confer a bit more on some things, so.
Okay, so I mean today? Or you
No,
want to come
I'm
back
good,
after
I'm
lunch?
ready to go. Just
Okay.
remember-
All right, well then we're gonna take a break for lunch. We have JCCT.
say it all, gotta say it all, JCC.
Hang on, let me get, on my cheat sheet here.
Jackson County Communities of Care Coalition.
Thank you. They're coming after lunch, so,
That's a fun thing, they're fun. to do.
yeah, they're a fun group.
Yeah.
All right, perfect, we're at recess for lunch.
You don't have any resolutions on these?